everybody's already starting to make announcements about that they have something that's SGP32 ready and ready for use. The reality is, I said earlier, the interoperability standards, they're not there yet, right? You add to the fact that the carriers themselves, so we have 11 carrier relationships globally, and we're being told by some of the carriers they won't be ready for till 2026 or maybe even early 2027, on SGP32, right? So the reality is that everything you hear is noise, right? There are people that are pitching older eSIM standards. As eSIM, it's available for eSIM, so everybody's hearing about eSIM. So the analogy is 5G. 5G is here. 5G was coming, and it still took 2 to 3 years before devices were cheap enough to be able to connect to a 5G network, and the 5G network was available everywhere for you to actually benefit from 5G. And then that begins the pathway to the next generation of applications, right? Well, the same thing's going to happen with SGP32 and eSIMs in particular, right? It's going to be a time delay before every carrier supports it. So imagine you're dealing with an application that's 100 gigabyte data plan, security, surveillance, that type of stuff, right? Well, that's why you want a native profile. The challenge will be if that carrier doesn't support downloading those profiles over an eSIM standard to be able to enable that, then that's a limitation, right? You don't get benefit from the eSIM. That's the first thing. The second thing that you deal with is when you're dealing with eSIMs, you have to have a relationship with the carrier to be able to pay for that data that you're going to use on that carrier network. You're not roaming with your own carrier in another country. So go back to the phone that I mentioned, right? If I have a phone and I'm going to travel to Europe, for example, and I'm going to be there for 6 months, I'm not going to roam for 6 months. Every day I'm paying $10 a month, $10 a day just for the right to do calls. That adds up after a while. So you want to have an eSIM that you'll download, right? Well, on a phone, I can take out my credit card, or I can do Apple Pay or Google Pay, and I pay for that connectivity, and I establish that relationship, and I can do that. I can terminate it when I want. In an IoT device, how do you do that, right? So that's the challenge that you're going to have with eSIMs coming out to support SGP32, where the industry's not ready yet to be able to have that. But you want to work with companies that have the ability to enable that down the road.